This is James Luxon, delighted to be joined with Darren Seeley. Darren, how are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, James?
Good stuff. Yeah, very well, thank you. I wanted to get you on your story from afar intrigues me.
Yeah.
Um, I want to start first of all with your start in boxing and your journey into boxing. You come to it in the program at least quite late. Tell me a bit
Mhm.
about your start into boxing and why you started boxing.
So I started boxing properly about 4 or 5 years ago now. White collar circuit, had a few charity fights, and then wanted to take it, I guess, a bit more seriously and see how far I could push it. So I went down the amateur route in hopes of getting a pro license, which I did. I was awarded that license it's my second year as a pro, so just over 18 months ago now. And yeah, that's sort of the long and short of it. But what got me into it was I've always loved being an athlete. I'm very tall. If I'm sure people might have seen, but I'm 6'9", so I used to play basketball professionally. I played football as a teenager as well, just at youth level. So I've always been very, very sport oriented. My parents grew up in sport, and we love it. So yeah, it was an easy transition. I've always loved boxing. I admire it, the determination, what it takes to be a true boxer, and like I said, sort of fell into it, but it was an easy choice to make. So yeah, I came into the pro game late, but I've been active all my life in team sports, competitive sports, professional sports. Yeah.
Talk to me about the difference between the team sport and obviously had a long background in that in the team sport setting to now being in a sport individually. It just being yourself in that ring, no one else to fall back on or rely on or
Mhm.
hope, if you make a wrong turn or a wrong decision during a game that somebody
Yeah.
else might back you up and you may not make as much of a mistake as you would in boxing on your own. Well, talk to me about the differences that you've noticed between the two.
Yeah, great question. I think the biggest nail on hitting the nail on the head is it's a very individual sport and you get out what you put in. So you can only rely on yourself, as you said. You're in the ring by yourself, but you know within yourself what it's taken to get into that ring, especially in any individual sport, albeit tennis. There's a big team behind what I do as a boxer. I don't have the biggest team at the moment, but the people I do have around me are absolutely incredible, and it's really helped my journey, especially for the last 6 months, I'd say, because my first year was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of trials and tribulations, which I'm sure you'll highlight in a bit. But the biggest difference is knowing that, hey, you get out what you put in, as I said. So if I know, okay, I haven't done my runs, I haven't done my sparring, I haven't done my conditioning, ticking every single box and trying to make sure that there's no stone left unturned, really, because as you said, you can't rely on anybody else. If you take a loss, then that's really on you. But it's the team around you having that support, not just from a performance standpoint, but mentally, emotionally as well. It plays a huge part in what I do and what I'm sure every boxer does.
Absolutely. You mentioned obviously trials and tribulations. Let's talk about your professional debut. It didn't go the way that it had planned. You did take a defeat. First question, you mentioned you done the white collar side of things.
Yeah.
How different was the pro game?
When you're starting out in the pro game, I think there's a lot of lessons you need to learn from a business standpoint. If you haven't got certain things in place, it's not, I wouldn't say it doesn't matter how talented you are, but it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder. And there's a lot of things I know now that I didn't know only a year ago, that like changing trainers, changing the environment that I was in. I started working with a sports psychologist all after the loss when these things should have been in place before I had my debut. And not to not to knock it, but you don't know what you don't know. So I kind of thought, okay, you get your pro license, you have a few fights against maybe a few journeymen or people who without credible names, and then you start picking up steam. But you know, in hindsight, that was a huge mistake. And there was certain things in my personal life that I was dealing with that we've all heard the phrase "a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter," and I definitely wasn't happy. I didn't train hard enough, and I broke my rib, or I had my rib fractured in sparring about 4 weeks out of my debut. So those reasons, not excuses. I can't put that on box rec. I don't want to start shouting that from the rooftops, but those are reasons. And we all go through trials and tribulations, as I said, but all of those compounded into me not putting the best performance out that I could from, maybe just a little bit of false hope, maybe a little bit of stupidity, but definitely not having the right game plan. And I'm not going to blame anybody else, but those people know what they were saying to me in the corner. And yeah, unfortunately, I took an L, and that's something that's going to sit on Darren Seeley's name. It's not on anyone else's name, so it's a tough pill to swallow. But a lot of wrongs were righted quite immediately after, and the environment that I'm in now, I wouldn't change it for the world. The last few months have been so eye-opening and really taught me a lot about myself, but what it is to be a boxer. So from a business standpoint and from a talent standpoint. So yeah, I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but I accept the loss a lot more now, because if I won, I would have thought everything's okay. Yeah, there's no changes I need to make. You just keep on ticking over. You do what you need to do, but you can't go in there half-hearted. It doesn't matter who you're fighting. You could be fighting your own sister or something. She'll beat you. Your brother, they'll beat you if you're not ready, not just physically, in a lot of other ways, and you've got your ducks in order. It's a hard night. It's a hard night for anyone. So I learned a lot.
Was it harder for you to accept or deal with defeat as an individual rather than part of a team?
Yes, definitely. I'm my own worst critic. So there's no negative or positive thing that someone can say to me that I haven't said to myself, or positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement that I haven't thought, oh, Darren, come on, you got to get your finger out here. You got to do something. So yeah, I might be harsh on myself, but I expect a lot from myself. I put a lot of pressure on my shoulders because I know within myself what I can do. And it all started, I'd say, after the loss, and learning to accept it and what I need to do to never have experienced that type of feeling again. And the first thing I did was start working with a sports psychologist, Lee. His company is Sport Mode UK. I want to give him a shout out on socials. He was pivotal in changing my mindset and switching me from. I'm quite an introverted person, but I speak well. People say, "Oh, Darren, you know really good at speaking," but I'm quite a shy person. But I had to really start to speak it, believe it, and start to achieve it. And working with him, and then I changed coach, and to me, he's the best coach in the world. I'll sing him from the rooftops. So there's certain things that we're doing, working with my skill set, really making sure that I become the best version that I can be, and that's not going to happen again. It's just not. Yeah.
You mentioned a moment ago about righting some wrongs, and you started that process soon after the defeat. Let's talk about the next fight, righting that wrong. You're rematching Phil Williams,
Yeah.
straight back in, no messing about. You wanted this rematch. You wanted to right this wrong. How
Yeah.
important is that to you?
Hugely important. I think my favorite fighter is Lennox Lewis, and any loss that he might have taken, he went and righted those wrongs. So he knew, okay, might have not been the correct Lennox on the night, but I know when I put my best foot forward, I'm going to get that win. I've got the exact same mentality. I was looking for the rematch. My next fight, I fought in March on my debut, and I would have fought again in June, but I couldn't. I couldn't get out then, and then I tried to fight in the summer, and I tried to fight in December, and I had pullouts. So it's not like I've shied away for the last 12 months and living under a rock. I've been working diligently to get back in there, and like we said, the pro game isn't easy. There's a lot of business acumen and skills, and certain people that I had to learn from and keep out of the way. And yeah, we're back. So it's not me saying, oh, I'll go and train for 12 months and then have the rematch. I wanted to rematch in that same night because I knew, oh damn, what didn't I do? What didn't I do? Okay, cool. Now go back to the drawing board. And then I started improving my team. And then I started to improve my mindset. Then I became a better boxer. I was like, yeah, this isn't, I should have went and had my pro debut as this version. The person that I was 13, 14 months ago, no, not ready. So Yeah. When I look at box rec, or I think about it every day, it's a good reminder of what you shouldn't do. Because people who haven't lost, they don't know how to lose. But I haven't tasted victory in the pro game yet. I've had loads of victories in white collar and amateur level, but this is a completely different sport, two worlds apart. So yeah, ready to get back in there. And I'm sure you might touch on who we've been training with. It doesn't get any better than this. So I'm ready, more than ready.
Absolutely. We certainly will get to that. Before I do get that far down, in terms of a few things you mentioned already, obviously the feet, the not training properly, issues outside of the ring during your first camp,
Yeah,
fight pullouts, fighters, pull out last minute, however soon to the fight it may be, and fights falling through for almost a year long.
yeah.
With all these things, they all come with their own frustrations.
Mm.
You could easily turn around and say, do you know what, I'm walking away, it's not worth it. 12 months of this, I'm done. You could easily, like I say, walk away from any one of those individual things, never mind all of those cumulative. Now, talk to me about the looking at the other side of it and the silver lining. Do you feel it's a benefit to you to have experienced all of that so soon in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have said it any better. It's all been compounded. So it's like rather have 12 months of it or 1 year than 5, 6, 7 years. And I'm getting in to, I'm 32 years old. Uh, okay, I'm not the oldest in the heavyweight scene, but I'm no spring chicken. There's 21, 22-year-olds with 10 times as many fights as me. So I know what I can do. But I'm not saying that I wouldn't have happily swerve some of those experiences and someone just tell me, oh, Darren, don't do this or don't speak to that person. But you live and learn. And, experience is the best teacher. So, yeah, I'd rather have it over the course of 12 months and learn, okay, going into my second year as a pro, we might have not been in the ring professionally, but the people that we've been around and the type of environment that I'm in, you can't buy that type of experience. And people have been in the game 5, 10 years, maybe even longer than that, and not had the experiences that I've had in the last 12 months. So the cons don't outweigh the pros. I think there's a lot of pros that I've been opened. The doors have been opened to me, just aside from that loss in March. Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, you mentioned obviously the names you've been in with. I mentioned we'll come on to that now. You're in camp currently with Alexander Usyk. You've been in with Francis Ngannou. You're clearly better than your pro debut suggests on paper.
Yeah.
Obviously, being 6'9" certainly helps to
It
mimic
does.
Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
Um, but like I say, you've clearly got some fundamentals. You've clearly got some skills. You've clearly got some talent to be called in to these camps. These aren't just anybody. These are the highest level, highest caliber of camps that you could be involved in. And for you, it doesn't get any better than being in camp with Alexander Usyk currently coming up to your second professional fight. Um,
Exactly.
how's it been, first of all, in this camp with Usyk?
Nothing short of incredible. There's certain things that I've seen and that he's been doing, and I'm sure people will be aware of on the night, but it's been a life-changing experience. And yeah, going into the second year, couldn't have asked for anything better. It's a blessing to be here. It's an honor to be here. But I've been here a very long time, and people who know how sparring and professional camps work, some people can be in a camp for 3 days, 7 days, and get sent home. I've been here a very long time. I won't go into the certain details, but it's been a good couple months. So yeah, and he's incredible. There's no words to put into the skill set and what we've been aware of, and the work rate and the pace and the intelligence and the mastery, and it's like a symphony. Being around him, and the way he trains, and just watching his movement patterns and the way he carries himself. Yeah, an incredible person. But as a boxer, as you said, it doesn't get any better. So yeah, and that was off the back of Francis Ngannou's camp, and I also want to highlight how how much of an honor it was to be in that camp as well. That was a great experience. We were out in Saudi, and obviously people saw his performance on the night was very good. But yeah, spearheading off that, being invited into the Usyk camp because of how well I did in the Ngannou camp. So yeah, it's only upwards and onwards. I feel personally, and the team are happy with me. People are starting to notice who we are, and I don't just want to be judged on 0 and 1. It's going to be 1 and 1, 2 and 1, 10 and 1, 11 and 1. Okay. But always that one, just to remember, Darren, humble yourself. Remember how you felt, on March 20 last year. Like you never want to be back in that place because it's very, the body doesn't generally remember pain, but I do remember that internal feeling every single night. And like I said, I remember it all the time. So when I'm going into these spars with world-class athletes, world champions, so okay, I'm not going to bring myself down to any sort of level. I'm going to rise to that level and try to rise above. And we've been here a very long time, so I'm loving it.
I'm sure you've been around a lot of other fighters, for camps, spars, etc.
Yeah.
Usyk to me seems a very thinking fighter.
Mm.
If that makes sense to you, he's almost like a chess player in the ring, if that makes sense. You watch his fights and it may take him a round, may take him 2 or 3 rounds, but he'll break down, he'll work out his opponent, and then he changes his plan B to, the way to beat this opponent. And he
Yeah.
does that in every fight.
Mm.
Do you notice that thinking process of Usyk during camp? Do you see that side of it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, his mind is unbeknownst to just anybody. You can't explain it. You can almost see him, breaking down in his eyes what he's going to do to you. You might even feel it or see it coming, but he's already got a plan B, a plan C, a plan F, a plan Z. He's got so many game plans that there's no point in even trying to navigate what you feel he might do because there's always a flip side to it. In terms of the countering, the movement patterns, it's just like I said, it's like a symphony. So yeah, really really cool. He will. I feel he will put on an incredible performance on the night. Today we're just shy of like 1 month away, so I'm very excited for the fight and see, and for the world to see what they already know, but to see even further the levels that he's taken himself to. The team out here are very strong. We're all a good team. We all really push him. He pushes us, and there's a lot of respect. So I feel, um, yeah, he's just completely ready. Yeah.
Now, I know you don't want to give too much away, but in terms of yourself, 6'9",
Mm.
Usyk obviously has to deal with somebody of that height come fight night against Tyson Fury. And a lot of people feel it will come down to Fury's size being the main advantage for him. How is Usyk dealing with your size in the ring, or Marius Wack, who's there, camp with you as well?
Mm. In the best way possible. I don't want to answer the question like a politician and not answer it and go around the houses, but he's dealing with us in the best way possible. Like I said, there's respect there, but it's not like we can take the piss. He knows what he's doing. There's certain things and there's certain shots that he'll bring to the table and just like there's nothing you can do. There's literally nothing you can do. He knows that's a foolproof like weaponry. His armory is amazing. So yeah, there's heavy guys. We're obviously all large. We're all tall, all taller than him. We've all seen the picture, I'm sure. Hence why we're speaking now. But we're all big men, big heavy guys. Some much heavier than me, some lighter than me. But I've seen a lot of people in and around the environment out here. So I wouldn't say just me and Maris are the two heavy guys. There's a lot of extra things that he's been able to do, and none of us have handled him in any way, shape, or form. It's incredible.
And you mentioned as well, Francis Ngannou, that camp led to this one.
Yeah.
Uh, First of all, in terms of his performance on the night against Tyson Fury,
Mm.
it almost shocked the world. But did it shock you guys who shared camp with him? Did you expect Francis to perform as well as he did?
It didn't shock us because we knew how hard he was working in camp because you're obviously an insider, and it was nice to for everybody to be like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, yeah, put some respect on his name. That was really, really nice. But I wouldn't say like uh, even anybody knew how hard he. I just think it's his mentality. You know what separates the elite from the world beaters. You know, your Usyks and your Ngannous, your AJs, your Furies, whoever it may be. It's that mentality. It's that type of switch that you need to go into. So yeah, you can train with the person physically, and that's what we're doing. But we're not having those types of mental deep, meaningful conversations that a fighter will have in private or with their with the other parts of their team. We're just there to really try and push him and give him the best type of preparation he can in the ring. I felt he did amazingly, but it wasn't a surprise at all. He's wired differently. He's an incredible fighter, but he's also an incredible person. I think people don't give enough credit to these types of athletes. You can't be yeah, you need to carry a level of confidence, but I don't. I think there's a thin line between being confident and being a bit braggadocious. So yeah, he's not that at all. Nor is Usyk. Nor are the other champions that I've been training with. I trained with Dempsey McKean last year. I'd also like to highlight him. He's an incredible person. You know, gave me a lot of time, gave me a lot of wisdom as I was just starting to make that transition away from my old coach. And working with the coach I'm working with now. So yeah, just loads of gems, but they've all come from world class boxers. I learned the business, in a hard way, but it's the boxers, man. I think we're the nicest people, the guys and the girls, because we're the one putting our lives on the line. So we know the fear, but it's the mental that keeps us going. It's all mental, man.
Just a little bit off piece a little bit, but with the Ngannou side of things, did you get to meet Mike Tyson? As it highly highlighted that he was working with Mike Tyson here and there. Did you get to meet Mike Tyson?
Me personally, no, I didn't get to.
In terms of, you mentioned a few names, Dempsey McKean as well, obviously Usyk and Ngannou, and you mentioned gems, learning a lot from these guys and who you sparred. What's the best piece of advice you've received in your boxing career so far?
No matter what level you're at, Darren, we all have the same problems. So don't worry, mate, it will get better. Um, from Dempsey last year. I think we were having a conversation, and it kind of got a little bit deeper, and I was just sort of airing my frustrations after we had just finished sparring and we left the gym. I was down in matchroom with Tony and my coach Billy, and yeah, he was just dropping some really good knowledge on me, and I was explaining to him sort of my frustration, what happens after the debut and why it happened, and I was really living in it at that time. It was about 4 months after, yeah, he just quoted that, and I'll never forget it because I was like, okay, yeah, even at this level, it's tough, but if I'm at his level, world level, then boy, can't even imagine those issues there. More money, more problems, but yeah, the money isn't going to make those problems really. They're not going to make them go away. You have to welcome them. And as we touched on, initially, it's a very lonely sport. It's a very individual sport. If you haven't got the right people around you who want your best interest, those problems are never going to go away. You need to be able to almost see them coming. You need to be a little bit psychic in boxing, and nobody is. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the final topic I want to speak to you about, Darren, is ambition.
Mm.
Came to this pro game late on. You mentioned you're 32, 33 years old.
32, yeah.
32. Um, I know you mentioned earlier there are older heavyweights than yourself. There are also younger heavyweights with more experience than you, as you mentioned earlier. But what are your goals? I know everyone gets into the sport to become a world champion,
Yeah.
and ideal situation, world champion, a lot of money, happy days. But is there anything more to it for you? Anything more that you want to gain from this?
I feel I have a God-given talent, and I feel that I'm in such a good place mentally now that I can really reach us. I can push myself as far as I need to push myself, but it's the people around me. So I've kind of left it to last. I really want to talk about my coach. Um, yeah, I feel British level. I'm definitely at British level. Okay, world champion is the old cliche, but the politics and the merry-go-rounds and the swings and roundabouts and snakes and ladders with trying to be a world champion, you could be world champion level in terms of talent in the gym, but no one ever knows you. So I personally feel I would love to be British level, British champion, some point, so forth, and take care of my family from a financial standpoint. That would be incredible. But just so they don't have to be concerned with the everyday cost of living and just how life has its ebbs and flows. Because I've done everything I need to do in the ring, and just leave the sport unscathed and healthy. Whether it's in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, I'm in this game until hopefully we can accomplish those things. And as it's the last thing, I wanted to finish off with just highlighting my coach Billy Whitrod from TW1 Gym. He also works alongside Tony Sims down at Matchroom Gym. And if I had to put it on one person in terms of the pivotal change and changing me into the person that I am today, it's Billy. I have the utmost respect for the man. He's done so much for me, not just improving me as a boxer, but as a person and as a man. We're around the same age, so we kind of sing from the same hymn sheet. You know, we've experienced the same things as well, just as men. But I feel that the sky's the limit with us. His pro stable, I believe there's about 2 or 3 of us at the moment. Myself, Christian, and Maisie, who he's just started working with as well. But he works very closely with Tony at Matchroom. So for me, when I was starting to get into boxing, I was thinking, okay, who are the champions? Where are the gyms? What do I do? It was always Anthony Joshua, Matchroom Gym. Those were sort of the levels that I was thinking, okay, that's when you've made it. So I reached out to Tony Sims when I wanted to change coaches after the debut. He said, not able to, Darren, but I'll put you in touch with Billy. He's like my second. He's my guy. Went down there for a trial session. I never knew how trials work, so I went for a trial. I think within the first 1 minute of shadow boxing, let's see what you are with shadow boxing. He changed up my jab and just changed the biomechanics of it because I'm so long, and he was just asking me to do certain things with the jab, and I felt just the power and the speed and everything go up. And I'm a very analytical guy. I love breaking things down and knowing the why behind things. If someone says, "Oh, Darren, just go and run, and that's your condition," well, why? What's it going to help me with? But he would always take the time to explain things to me. He would always, guide me, mentor me, help me to realize my potential. And that all started from that trial. Literally, that first minute, I thought to myself, I don't care whatever this guy asks me to do, how hard I need to work, I want him to coach me. And that was the first time I felt like if I put my all into it, but I will get something out of boxing because that man wants me to succeed. And I need to want to succeed as much as he wants me to. And we've been a team ever since. The trial turned into like a 2-week trial. And it was incredible because he really pushed me. I sparred Dempsey numerous times for his last fight. And, going from the level of sparring we were doing before to the Intercontinental champion, that's a big jump. Managed to handle myself, impress, do the certain things that I needed to do in the ring. I don't know if Tony and Billy spoke about me, but he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna put you on the team and I'm gonna coach you." And since that day, I knew that the ambition needs to be a lot higher than just thinking, "Oh, I'll just give it a go because I'm tall and I've got a bit of power." I don't want to be one of those boxers. Just give it a go and whatever happens, happens. Because Billy has put his utmost faith and trust in me, and he gives me so much guidance and so much ambition and fulfillment that I really want to repay him with the victories and showing him that, okay, I care about you, but also for myself, for my family, for my partner, for my mum, for my brother, for my sister, is very, very important to me. So yeah, sorry, it's a long-winded question, but a long-winded answer, but I just wanted to break down, the types of things that you can do to really change your environment if it starts off badly. There are better days. And as you said, which was a brilliant question, thanks for that, James, was, it's been 12 months of shit, basically. Like, why? Like, what is keeping you going? But it's those people, it's me knowing that I'm better than that performance. And personally, I don't think I would be doing these camps if I wasn't about that. Why would I be sitting here right now, you know, working with the world champion, if I wasn't good, if I wasn't more than good? So yeah, that's my piece.
Just want to play a little bit of devil's advocate in terms of you changed trainers you mentioned there after you took that loss.
Yep.
Um, in my personal opinion, a lot of people will do that and almost jump ship and say, right, okay, I've took a loss. It must be their fault, or at least that's how it appears sometimes from the outside.
Yeah.
And clearly, it's turned out to be the right decision for yourself. But why did you make that choice to look elsewhere at the time?
Yeah, it's definitely on the devil's advocate. I respect that question highly. I did a lot of soul searching and breaking down what I needed to do for myself to get the win. And what I felt I was doing, it wasn't really welcomed with the coach I was with. I won't say any names if he's watching it, he's watching it. But at the end of the day, um, I don't think the blame was fully on Darren Seeley. It could have been spread across the two, or even the other coach that was well, supposedly training me as well. But just in terms of the preparation, when I'm talking to other coaches, especially Billy now, what the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, what I should have been doing, what I could have done. You don't get in, you don't go in there with a fractured rib. But because I didn't get my debut in the November. I was just like, I need to get the ball rolling. I'm at the time 31 years old. I need to get going. It's been so hard to get this license because it was a long-winded process with the medicals and the board and the back and forth. I'm dying to get in there, so I was almost desperate. So I blamed myself for months, literally months. But I think changing that mental shift and starting with working with Lee from Sport Mode, my psychologist, that really helped me to see that okay, you don't always need to blame yourself. Because as I said, I'm my own worst critic. So don't get me wrong, I was definitely on my own self, like, okay, I need to just do this, I'm going to get there. But I had two fights fall through before I changed trainers, and I didn't feel like I was being supported by that coach. I didn't feel like he cared. I was, well, oh, the fight I pulled out, or I don't know if I can. Oh, all right, there'll be a next. Okay, it's like no, the time it's the time is ticking. The clock is ticking. I'm not 20 years old. I've got things to do. I've got opportunities that need to be fulfilled here. I can't just put all my eggs into one basket. Then when someone rips that basket away from me, I'm like, okay, I'll just get some more eggs. It doesn't work like that. So yes, I understand people can jump ship, but I don't want to, speak it into existence. But God forbid I took another loss, I would not be leaving Billy. It would not be because of him. It would. It might be because I broke my leg or something. It wouldn't be something directly towards him. So, sometimes I can be almost too loyal and try to stay with somebody, and in your head and your heart that it's done. But one thing I do remember from Lee, when you said what are the types of quotes that really change your mentality, he said to me once, and I don't think he would mind me sharing this. It's not too confidential. It's it shows that it shows somebody with not much self confidence if they're happy to stay in a situation where they're being taken like the piss is being taken out of you. So basically, said it in the wrong way, but if you know in your heart that you shouldn't be there, why are you allowing yourself to stay, Darren? And he would just ask me and just go silent. And I almost had to find the answer. And I was soul searching. I was like, you know what? I'm not happy here. Why the fuck am I staying here? Why am I trying to train with this person? Why am I putting more in than they're giving to me? Because it's a team effort. Yeah, it's an individual sport, but Billy gives me so much more. Lee gives me so much more. My family give me so much more than I can repay them at the moment. But I'm going to get in there and I'm going to show them. So when I'm in these camps and when I'm with these world champions and when people are talking to me, I'm like, I'm soaking it in. I need that knowledge. because it's only making me better. But what my previous coach was telling me was not making me better. What I shouldn't be almost allowed to fight with a broken rib. But I'm new to the game. I don't know. I just think, oh yeah, some fighters they fight injured, but I couldn't even breathe after the second round. Um, that all of that compounded into the loss. The first thing I do is I'm done. I blame myself. Yeah, I'm not good enough. I shouldn't have done it. But no, no, no. You're more than good enough. You just need to reassess, reevaluate, and believe. Yeah.
Last thing I want to just mention, taking it full circle almost from the start of this interview, we mentioned the individual aspects of boxing and this sport. Um, you've mentioned their sport mode, you've mentioned Billy. Um, there's certainly a lot more than just yourself in that ring. You certainly have got a good team around you. Um, and it sounds like it's obviously a big improvement from your previous team as well, which is obviously a good thing for yourself. And clearly your mindset and mentality is in a great place currently as well. Darren, so it's great to hear, and I'm really looking forward to your next fight, and we can even call it your second pro debut, the real Darren
Yeah,
Sealy in the ring. That
literally. Yeah, it definitely is. I say to Billy, we joke around and say, "Well, I'm 0-0 with you, coach." You know what I mean? Like, my debut is actually with you, so yeah, I'm not going to be judged by a number on a website or any write ups and stuff like that. So yeah, the time I feel the career really it started in July last year, but it really starts February 10th. That's when people are going to start to know, like, okay, cool, yeah, he's not just talking, he's about that. Because yeah, you can put up a picture and things can get leaked and people can find out where you're at and stuff. But I'm not shouting from the rooftops, hey, guess what? I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm training with it. People just naturally find out, okay, you want to have a chat about it, that's fine. But my hands will do the talking. My mouth, I can get as far as I need to go with my talking, but my hands, that's where you're going to see what we're about.
absolutely, and like I said, all the best of luck. Thank you very much for your time. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, James. Appreciate it.